Spell your name for me?
Okay. Now it's okay? My name is Denise Nasrawi. It's DENISENASRAWI.
We're just about okay as far as sound goes.
So shall we start?
Yes, go right ahead.
What do you think makes a good teacher? What are the qualities?
Hang on just one second. I'm going to slide this way just a little bit.
And I'm just looking at you, right? Okay.
She should look at me?
Yes,
Randy?
that's correct.
Okay.
You're going to do perfect just to have a conversation
Okay.
with her and like I'm not here. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
So what do you think makes a good teacher? What are the qualities?
I think some of the qualities that make a good teacher are someone who has a good grasp and understanding of the developmental stages of children, someone who has a passion for being with children at a young age, someone who has patience. I think patience is a big piece for a teacher of early childhood, and also someone who is flexible and can be a good listener, can take things and turn them around if they need to, if things go in another direction, as far as curriculum or following the child's needs, I think.
What about as a director? Because you also do, not only are you a teacher, but you're the director of these early childhood programs. What makes a good director? What are some of the qualities you need?
I think some of the good qualities of a good director might be a good listener, being a good listener, number one, and a good support for my teachers. My biggest goal in my role as an administrator is to make sure the teachers have what they need to do the job that they need to do with children. So anything I can do to help with that, whether it's support with a parent, if they need help with advice of how to deal with a parent, or if they'd rather I deal with a parent, what do they need in their classroom so that they can be the best teachers they can be. If they're having a hard day, just being able to take them out of the classroom for 5-10 minutes to sit down and talk about what's happening in the moment, and not having to say, can we set up a meeting about that for 2 weeks from now, but being able to hear what they need and what they want at the moment. And of course there's going to be times where I have to say, this sounds like something that's really important to you, can we set up a time and talk about that later? But also knowing the balance between that and knowing the balance between that and times when we need to address it right away, when it's something that needs to be handled quickly.
How do you go about planning your environment in the classroom? You have a beautiful environment.
Thank you. It's one of the favorite things we do, I think. So our teachers sit down weekly and plan for the following week. But that plan is very loose. We have an emergent curriculum, and so what we do when we plan is listen to the interests and the desires of the children, what they're into at that moment. And we sit down and talk about those things and think about what we could provide to help support where they're going next. We do a lot of listening to what their interests are and what their theories are, and then kind of predict where they might go with the play, and have some materials ready so that they can bring that into their play. And sometimes the things we think that they're going to need and we think the things that are really going to take off turn out to be completely different. And so we also talk about being able to be flexible, and although we're planning for the needs of the children, also knowing that our plan may not be their plan. So being able to change that plan quickly is a part of that process when we're doing our planning.
So that flexibility, ability to shift gears, and I think, the surprises that come up and what children will come up with, that's one of the great joys. But it's also very intimidating for a new teacher coming in. So can you reflect back to when you started teaching and think about how did you learn how to be flexible? Is that just a natural part of your personality, or how did that come to be?
For me, it was a paradigm shift. I feel like I was a flexible person anyway coming into teaching, and that was more innately who I was. But I also, the learning I had behind my teaching in my early years was more themed curriculum, writing down lesson plans and going with what we had written down and that kind of thing. So when I had to shift into that more emergent mode and learning about that, it felt good to me, but it also was scary, like you said, because I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to be ready with what they need if I don't plan it ahead of time? So I think the biggest thing that helped me was just sitting with the kids and listening and writing down notes and listening to what their conversations were and what their stories were, and knowing that I didn't need to solve it right then, jump in right now and change things, but also just kind of seeing where it goes. And then when I started to see it fizzle down, know that I could bring something else into it to kind of see where it goes next. And that if that didn't work, it wasn't a failure. It just meant that they weren't interested in that piece of it, but I could find something else to help them. So I think it is a shift for new teachers, and can be a little scary because it's not as predictable as if you were to create a curriculum for the month. But the meaningful context of the emergent curriculum is, I think, what is so important and impressive and what I love most about it.
So were you working in a kind of more traditionally structured type of programming, or is that really how you were educated and then you had to have that paradigm shift?
I was working in a Montessori program, which was more rigid as far as that goes, as far as the way the projects went and things like that. It was less collaborative and less open-ended, the activities. And so we did do a lot of pre-planning.
Let me have you hold for
Okay.
just a moment.
I don't even...
We joked that